Well, all right, kiddos, it's time to sharpen up those edges and grease up your chains. We are going to live it up with mountain life. Dropping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, mountain lovers, mountain lifers, children of the forest, and people of the hills. How are you doing? How are you? More importantly, how's your gear? Is your outdoor gear shiny and new? Is it too new? Did you end up buying the latest, greatest gadget and using it twice before relegating it to some dusty bin in the garage? Or is your gear worn, old, and loved? Is it held together by duct tape and the innate desire to milk every last moment and dollar out of it? I'm kind of a mix of both. Working with the magazine, we get access to a lot of new gear. I could probably take advantage of that more than I do, but for sure, I get to try out cool stuff. We all do. At the same time, I didn't have it easy as a kid. My folks made sure I had skis and boots and a Norco Spitfire. But as soon as I moved into climbing and mountaineering, river surfing, and scuba diving, I was on my own. I had to buy my own gear, and so I appreciate my own gear, and I treat it well. I still have my MEC Rad Pants from 1997, with a large safety pin plunged into that waistband to fix the ever-loosening belt cincher apparatus they put on there that doesn't work, especially 25 years later when you sit on a computer way too much. But that's how it goes with gear. Sometimes it takes a little bit of extra tinkering. Sometimes it's timeless. That's my favorite kind. Well-made gear that can last for generations. A knife, a paddle, an axe, a cedar strip canoe, a wool jacket. The best gear is well-made, for sure, but it's also well-designed. And that's always been interesting and a part of outdoor culture. A subculture, I guess. I don't want to call it a dirtbag subculture, but a lot of them started that way. Climbers, backcountry skiers, and such. And these are the folks that are driven to make things better, to tinker, to innovate, to come up with gear that changes the game, maybe. I think of skier Eric Hjorlifson and the touring boots he invented by turning the storage locker in his condo basement into a workshop. Or Dylan Butcher from Lynx Off-Grid Technologies, looking at his brand-name plastic headlamp and thinking, that doesn't make sense. LED lights need to bleed heat in order to work at their ultimum. Why aren't these things made of aluminum? I love it when people think like that, because more often than not, it turns into a new piece of cool gear that ups the ante for everyone. So today we're talking to Tony Richardson, a lifelong rock climber and rattlesnake dodger turned industrial designer who's worked with some of the big brands and some of the startup brands, and now he's doing his own thing, trying to make life better for everyone with his designs for rucks. Now, if you don't know what rucks is, I'll tell you. Partly because Tony and I talk about them a lot in this episode, and also because rucks are partners with the pod, and that means I got to tell you about them. But don't think this episode is a big sponsored BJ in the back alley of my soul. It isn't. Tony's an awesome dude with a lot to say, and who isn't interested in learning more about the people and ideas behind the gear we use, right? Okay. Well, here's the ad. All right, let's talk about rucks, because rucks solves a lot of problems that a lot of us have. How much time do you spend digging around for your gear in all kinds of places, dumping out bins, repacking bags, finding, organizing, transferring, and dicking around with your outdoor gear when you'd actually way rather be outdoors using it? The sad truth is that storing, accessing, hauling, unpacking, and repacking all our outdoor gear takes way too much time, space, and effort. So Rucks came up with a solution. And they invented an all-in-one compactable and adaptable carry and storage system that brings new levels of efficiency to how we store, carry, road trip, protect, and access our gear, whenever, wherever we go. A Rucks has walls and a lid like a box, but it's compressible and malleable and has straps like a pack. It's durable, it's weather resistant. All my fly fishing stuff fits into a 70-liter Rucks. I can throw it on my back like a pack and hike it down to the river, use the waterproof lid to stand on while I get in my waders, and when I get home, it goes right back into its proper spot, ready for the next time. You pretty much need to see Rucks to understand its awesomeness, so go on the internets and hit up www.rucks.life. That's RUX.life. Even better, Rucks is offering Live It Up listeners 20% off at checkout with the promo code MountainLife20. That's Mountain Life and then the number 20, no spaces. And no kidding, Rucks keeps the gear in and the elements out, and it will make your life better. Yeah, all right, so you've heard about Rucks from me. Now let's hear from the guy who designed it. I caught up with Tony after work at the Ruck's warehouse here in Squamish. There was a dog running around. It was pouring rain outside. It was all very Coast Mountains. But we talked about gear and we talked about climbing and we had a great time. So here we go. I'll ask you the same thing people are always asking me.
Okay.
What do you do?
What do I do? Right now, like I said, I'm becoming just about to launch my internet influencer career. But for about the last 15 years, I design stuff, like mostly for the outdoor world.
Right. So is that like industrial design, or
I studied industrial design. I went to
Right.
Emily Carr, got a degree at Emily Carr, and then kind of through luck and just connections through the outdoor world, I got a job at Arc'teryx, and I worked there for about eight and a half years.
Right. And when was that? Early Arc'teryx or
Kind
post merger?
of mid Arc'teryx. It was like 2008, I want to say, I started.
Right.
And so they had already been bought by Salomon, Adidas by that point, and then sold actually to Amersport. But then things were like pretty chill. I think Amer was focused on other aspects of their portfolio at that time. So
Right.
Arc'teryx was kind of in this little bubble. And then over the 8 years that I was there, things kind of ramped up to the point where, they were like fully synergized into the Amer system.
And you obviously were already, outdoorsy climbing long before you hooked up with those guys.
Yeah, I grew up mostly in the Okanagan. Like we moved up there in the late 80s, and then my dad was kind of instrumental in developing the Skaha Bluffs.
Right.
So I climbed there from the early days, and then we were just outdoors doing all the sports. Skiing.
Yeah. What did your old man do for a living?
He was actually a biologist.
Right.
Yeah, he's a ornithologist, and he's just taught at the Okanagan. Well, I went through like various things, but basically Okanagan University College was the main thing.
You got brothers and sisters growing up, and
Got one brother.
Right.
Yeah, he just moved back to the Okanagan. He lived in Squamish here until 2 months ago, and now he just moved back there, and
So you guys were a climbing family scurrying around the Skaha rocks.
Yep.
You ever run into any rattlesnakes?
Lots of rattlesnakes.
Yeah?
It's funny because I just went back there for Easter, and it's still awesome, but it's like such a different spot. It's like this weird mix when I go there, where it's like memories and new things. It's an interesting spot to go to. But there was lots of snakes and lots of poison ivy and stuff that seem to have gone away a little bit.
Yeah, it's not as wild. More people, less snakes nowadays?
More people, less snakes, for sure. Yeah.
Which, I mean, some people would find that as an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice. Like the trails are all in. You don't
Right.
pull your rope down into a huge bush of poison ivy at the bottom of every cliff, and but it's a sweet spot still.
So grew up climbing, and were you like sort of tinkering around and designing your own stuff? Like, did you make your own rope bag when you were a kid or something like that? Or
Yeah, I mean, like it was funny because like I think it was just more common in the 80s. Not me particular, but like my mom sewed us our first climbing harnesses when we were kids.
Right.
Because nobody made a kid-sized climbing harness.
Totally.
And then as I grew up, I was just like always really psyched on the gear aspect of it, and would like pour over the MEC catalog and look at all the new stuff that had come out, and had to get like the new Arc'teryx whatever backpack when we went. We'd always stop at the co-op when we would go through town, and I was like,
totally.
I had to have the whatever the bag that was like.
I mean, I still have my Bora 95 liter,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And they don't even make those. That's how awesome they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some of that stuff is.
Do you know why they don't make those? Just because it's too big of a pack? Or, like, I feel it every time I go, even for a weekend.
I mean, that's the funny thing is that I think there is still people out there doing backpacking with a huge pack, but all of our gear is now like, you don't need an 80-liter bag for a weekend trip. Like, your sleeping bag's tiny, your sleeping mat's tiny, your stove is tiny, your clothes are tiny. Like, you only need like a 40, 50-liter bag for an overnight.
What a world.
What a world. Yeah, it's like dreamy.
So is that what you got into? Was it more the technical stuff at Arc'teryx, packs and harnesses, or were you also in garments? Or?
I got to do everything, to be honest. I was kind of lucky. I started, actually it was crazy because I was still in school and I got an internship, which turned into like kind of a part-time job, which turned into a full-time job. And I was working on the Leaf, like the military stuff. So I did packs and a whole uniform system for the Navy SEALs and all of the stuff for the Leaf department. And then I got to work on gloves and hats and shoes and harnesses. The only thing I didn't ever actually work on there was outdoor apparel.
Right.
Although I made a bunch of stuff for myself.
Right.
Why not?
That Leaf apparel, I mean, it's been criticized lately, with, the RCMP's wearing it at Ferry Creek, and then so are the protesters are wearing the other line of Arc'teryx, or someone said the Russian army was wearing it. But, I mean, it's tough to really be in control. There's also tons of paramedics and firefighters and all those, what people are wearing doesn't affect, what's on someone's back isn't making who they are, right? Or what they believe.
And as a company, it's kind of like, I mean, you can either just choose not to have any involvement with that, although Leaf actually saved Arc'teryx bacon for a bunch of years because they had this big contract for the Marine Corps that they were selling like hundreds or thousands of backpacks every year that was like helped them out a lot. And and then in the end, you can try to control who buys it, but people want gear. And then as a designer, I kind of rationalized it to myself that it's not the end user usually. It's the guy who's at fault. It's the politician or whoever who's like, we're going in. And then those guys who are, that's their job,
I mean, people stab each other with kitchen knives, right? But
yeah.
Doesn't mean, there's nothing wrong with kitchen knives.
Yeah, exactly.
But I thought that was interesting. I think it's something that people didn't really realize, those other, worlds that companies have to play in to survive.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's big contracts, and you sell a bunch of things rather than just a one thing to one guy. You sell 100 to a unit of guys.
Totally. And so you got to play around and toy around and make your own stuff?
Oh, yeah, I made so much stuff.
It was a pretty open policy for just staying after work and playing around?
Yeah, there was a bunch of years when I was first there, and I was just like a kid in a candy store or whatever, and I would just work on my projects all day, and then I was the most happy when everyone would filter out by 5 or 6, and then I'd just put on some tunes and rock out until the wee hours and just make myself backpacks and clothes and whatever shit that I was psyched on. And then a bunch of that stuff I made and, took on some pretty cool trips.
Yeah, you'd get to test it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like you stuck with climbing through your whole career? Or?
Yeah, totally. When I was at Arc'teryx, I was probably my most psyched on climbing, and I'd go on, some pretty cool trips with some of my buddies who were also athletes at the time, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so,
big walls.
Yeah, like remote, Waddington and Morocco and Patagonia, all that kind of stuff.
And this is in the early 2000s or mid 2000s? Yeah,
that stuff was, I mean, I basically worked there from 2008 till 2015 or 16 or something like that. So yeah, that kind of time frame.
And was that always a dream of yours as a kid? Obviously, you're growing up in a climbing family. Did you have, Rock and Ice magazine, Climbing magazine, the John Long books and all that stuff to just dream about these big walls?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was basically what I read was comics and climbing mags.
Yeah. And then how old were you when you first came to Squamish to climb?
I mean, my parents tell me that the first time I climbed in Squamish, and I have vague memories, was when I was I can't even remember, when the Smoke Bluffs was Bug House Heights, and you'd park right at the base of Neat and Cool, and but later I think I've started really coming down here when I was, done high school. I was probably 19, and I'd come down in my van and we'd all camp out by the river down, whatever the spot was. We'd get booted out of places every couple months, and then you go to the next spot and
just spend a summer here.
Yeah, and I just hang out for the summer and kind of rip around and just nerded out on all the slab climbing and crack climbing and all the kind of climbing that Skaha didn't really have to offer, and I was just
yeah.
like psyched on Skaha Squamish.
Yeah, living the dirtbag life.
Yeah, living dirtbag. Yeah,
Like not
fully.
working, just climbing.
No, like seasonal. And then I got as far as my like assistant rock guide
Right.
certification. That was kind of when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to school and do something different. But yeah.
Oh man, those are the days. You need to have a lot of free time, right? And
Totally, yeah. I know. I always feel like climbing's kind of like a high maintenance activity. Like to really be sending at your highest level, you have to be doing it kind of full time.
Yeah.
Or be very disciplined outside of your
There's
day job.
definitely a ceiling, right?
Yeah.
And then throw some kids into the mix, and that ceiling starts to get really low.
Yeah, you have to be really, really dedicated to it.
Yeah. So then you're at Arc'teryx, and then how did you just come to leave that? Was there just got tired of doing the same thing, or was there something else that perked your interest?
Yeah, I was there for 8 years, and then like I was saying, there was a lot of changes going on in the company, and all those times that I spent like busting my balls for my own enjoyment, working late, I think it all just kind of caught up. And then I was working on the footwear, and I got to live in France for a while, but it was right when, the biggest changes, like some of the old guard all kind of left and Amber sort of came in, and it all got a little bit like overwhelming. So then I was just like, I need to get out of here. So I was still there for another year or so, but I was pretty burnt out. And so I thought, I'll quit and start doing contract work. That'll be like way more chill. And yeah, it's not.
Yeah. And also I guess then you're working out of your home, right? Instead of having a full facility of every proper tool and fabric and all that.
Yeah. And that was a huge factor for not wanting to leave, was that Arc'teryx is fully set up with all the machines. You want something, you just call up a supplier, and they'll probably send you a bunch because they're like, oh yeah, we want to.
Yeah, whatever you're making, we want to be the people.
Yeah, we want to be the supplier for it. So
Yeah.
leaving that was definitely like, leaving the nest for sure.
And so you're like an expert sewer and all that, or did you learn that in school, like how to?
I had started sewing prior to school even, and then of course working at Arc'teryx, I was surrounded by some of the best pattern makers and sewers and designers of all time, and I just was like a sponge and soaked it up. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I've done it a lot.
And so when you were with Arc'teryx, where were you living? Were you living up here, or were you in the city?
I lived in the city at first, like
Right.
I was still in school,
Yeah.
and then I think I spent a year or so after school, and then I moved to Squamish, and then that was, I guess, right after the Olympics, or maybe I was living here when the Olympics went down, and then. But that was kind of nice because then we had this brand new highway, so I could rip back and forth. But that's in the days before telecommuting so much. So I was driving the highway like 5 days a week, which also kind of wears on you after.
Totally. I mean, it's a nice drive, but still, it's 2 hours of your day.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like
Which
10 hours a week. You're like,
you could be climbing.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to be doing some other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And so, how did it go? The independent freelancer.
It was good. Yeah, it was.
Who were you working with?
So I mean, only did a few different contracts. I worked with a company in Vancouver called RYU, and then another contract with some guys down in the States called Magpul, also kind of in that military-ish world. And then Seven Mesh, I did a little bit of work with those guys, and I was me and my girlfriend Trina, who also worked at Arc'teryx, and we left at the same time, and we started contracting together, and then we did these coveralls with our friend Dano.
With Dano, you worked with Dano.
Yeah. So
Side Channel, check them out. Side Channel.
Yeah.
There's still a few left. I think they're taking a moment.
Yeah. I mean, they're sweet. I'm psyched to get my set. So it was We only did like a few. I think at least the way that things went down for us, we'd do these kind of like longer contracts. People wanted you kind of in there for not just like
people
one thing.
Getting stuff going rather than just like, hey, I need the world's greatest fanny pack, and then go on your way.
Yeah, everybody wants Arc'teryx, but they want it like cheaper and faster. And you're it took those guys like 25, 30 years to get to where they are.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so was that what you were doing when you ended up here with the boys from Rux, or?
Yeah. So we kind of our whatever, I can't remember which contract it was, but it kind of ended, and then Trina and I were just taking some time off, and then Andre, who do you know Andre?
Yeah, from the Spearhead Hut Foundation,
and Handlebar. So we had met a bunch of times through skiing and whatever, and he popped by the studio one day and was just like, "Hey, I want something to get gear from my house in Whistler to the cabin at Gun Lake."
Right.
And in the time off that I had been taking, I had also gone and done some work for some other buddies for this company called Axis, and they do kind of high angle rope work, kind of industrial rope work, and it was awesome. It was super fun work. We built a bridge up in Pemberton for some folks, and but I noticed that all their gear was like kind of a junk show as well. Like they had different duffel bags and Rubbermaid bins and all this kind of stuff, and you're always rummaging around, and so that combined with Andre and plus all of the other stuff that I'd done, I was just like, bing, okay, this is like totally a thing that I need to just like dig into.
And I mean, for the listeners, I feel like, I sort of describe what a Rux is at the start of the last few pods, but it's kind of half bag, half box, collapsible sides, but it firms up.
Yeah.
Water resistant, like it to me, it reminds me sort of a Big Mountain wall bag, right?
Yeah.
Where it's that durable kind of enclosed feel to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's kind of a fusion of like all of those things, like haul bags and Rubbermaid bins and duffel bags. And I joke that it's like, how I got a couple dreams with it. One is that, every time you see like at least growing up reading climbing mags and everything, it was always like those North Face duffel bags would be like every big expedition of guys going to climb in the Himalayas or whatever. They have like a stack of North Face bags. I'm like, I need it'd be cool if Rux was like the new North Face duffel.
Well, we had one on the snowcat trip up to Skeena cat skiing this winter,
sick.
right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Abby had one there.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Up on the roof of the cat.
Yeah. Rad. Yeah. No, I mean they're. Yeah, and like any new crazy thing, they're kind of a work in progress. We're trying to
so how long did it take? Like, do some ideas you nail it the first time, and then others you have to tinker a lot, or how does that process work for you to go from here's what I want to do to here's what we have?
Yeah, I mean it's always a process. Like it's always sometimes I think you get the perfect idea, but then. At least the way that it goes down for me is I usually need to like go off on like every tangent, and I call it doing my like design due diligence just to make sure that there's not like some better way of doing it, even if initially like just that first idea was actually kind of it.
Yeah.
And this idea is like Rux is definitely, it's taking a lot. I'm blown away at how quickly we pulled it off. Like it only took us sort of basically a year, basically 2 years from like that first conversation with Andre to when it showed up in people's hands.
Which is a fast turnaround.
Which is really fast. Like at Arc'teryx, we used to be like, I'd be working on something and it would be like, even if it's just like a redesign of a product that already existed and everything was like more or less set up, it would still be like a 3+ year kind of time frame. So to like have an idea, concept through all these like crazy things, figuring out kind of what it's going to be, and then find manufacturing and shipping, and then COVID happened, and like all that stuff for it to happen in 2 years was like,
yeah. do you approach these things with a sort of a personal philosophy that you've honed over the year, like, simplicity is better or something like that, or look to nature for inspiration, or do you just sort of like take every project as a one-off?
I definitely have some philosophies that I try to follow, sort of, simplicity, like always trying to like make the basic thing to start and then start adding features to it. Like the early rucks were sort of, they didn't have all of the bells and whistles that the current ones have. And then in rucks, I was also trying to like build in some other ideas that I maybe it was like pushing back on some of the other projects, like from Arc'teryx and stuff, where things are really simple, but they're also really complicated in a lot of ways. So I tried to make rucks simple in as many ways as I could. Like it's all square shapes and, it just bolts together and it's kind of really utilitarian. There's nothing like kind of sculptural about it.
It doesn't need to come out with a new look every winter.
No, it should just be this, ubiquitous thing that you're like, the one that came out the first year looks a lot like the one that came out 10 years later.
Yeah. I watched that show. It's a long time ago now, but design show where they talked about like the Japanese toothpick and how it's like the perfect design, right? with a little end that you can snap off and rest the toothpick on, and so I always think about stuff like that when I'm thinking about you guys sitting there in the dark.
Yeah.
Because with writing, they always say, the best writer can tell a complex idea in a simple way. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that probably comes back to design too, because people got to use this stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah, I'm really, I definitely subscribe to a lot of those. There's this guy, Dieter Rams, who like designed all of these cool electronics back in the day. And when you look at his stuff and then like the iPhones and everything, there's all these kind of comparables, and he has these like 10 principles of good design. And
and is that the kind of stuff they would teach you at school? Like, okay, we're going to study Dieter Rams.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and school was cool because it really showed, like, you study the history of stuff. So when you are making something, you kind of know when you're like referencing Dieter Rams or Bauhaus or whatever movement you kind of like glom onto.
Or here's this rule and I know it, and I also know why I'm breaking it.
Yeah, and you're not just like, oh, I just invented this new look, and it's like, well, no, that was kind of done in the 40s.
How often do you get that where somebody says, you know what you should make?
Pretty often actually. Yeah. And my advice is always like, okay, that's an awesome idea. Have you like gone out and tried to find something close to that, you know? Do you actually want me to make you a custom thing, or do you just want that thing? Because they're really different. Like one's going to be like, even if it's an expensive thing, it'll be way cheaper than...
And it's going to take me 3 years.
And I probably won't even get around to it. So maybe have a scour of the internet and like see if there's something out there.
Oh, man. And so was there certain things... certain pieces of gear or whatever that you were like, this is my perfect thing. Like, I love this piece. I'm keeping it. I'll replace it when it goes or whatever. Do you have those things that somebody else made that you just think are exactly, they're done? You don't need to worry about making one of those? Yeah, there's definitely some gear. For me, sometimes it's like, it's almost like things grow on me. Like, like even if it's not my favorite piece of gear, like after some amount of time, I'm like, even if I get something to replace it, I find myself going back to the one that I know. That's what I'm like with a figure 8 rappel device.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
But there's been ATCs and there's Grigris, and people laugh at me because I got a first generation Grigri, and and it's not. I don't even know how to use some of the things that I see now on the shelves because I'm old.
Yeah.
But give me that super fast figure 8.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you kind of get to know your stuff. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely pieces of gear though that I think are.
Well, it feels like, the reason I ask is it feels like the Rux, has the potential to be one of those kind of timeless pieces where you guys have put enough time into it and thought that it'll get a little bit better here and there, But for what it is, it's hard to think of something replacing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's just it. Is like, I would love to keep tweaking it and evolving it and like making better. I guess that's the other thing about it, is that it's, in my mind, Rux is not just that one
Right.
bin. It's like that bin is like a kind of bunch of components that are all put together, and then there's Rux, like the system, where it's like, now we just launched the waterproof bag, which is kind of like this other piece to the system that you can actually like attach to the main Rux, or it stands on its own. And like in the future, I'd love to do like a properly like snap on kind of like Tupperware waterproof lid. We've kind of been working on something like that, so that if you're a boating person, you can like lock your Rux.
You can throw it. It can fall in the water.
It can fall in the water, or it's just like if it's on the roof of your truck, like it's not gonna like.
So the waterproof bag is new for this summer.
Yeah.
And does that come from you going out and being like, God damn, I needed a waterproof bag. I'm gonna have to go make one, or how does a secondary tangential project like that come apart?
It was partly we were getting a lot of requests from people who were using the Rux for like their surfing gear, and they wanted a waterproof thing to put their like wetsuits in that would keep them separated from their other stuff, and also just, I mean, I've had a lot of different organized, like, I guess that's the other funny thing, is Rux is trying to replicate a bunch of things that I've had myself over the years, but like making them into one unified thing, like dry bags. Like, how many friggin' dry bags have you had? And you just accept that there's this sort of like tube that you end up having to like cram your arm way down inside of, and you can never quite get to the bottom of it. And so the dry bag that we made was trying to be a better version of just a regular dry bag, and also then work with the Rux itself, the 70-liter bin, and how could those things kind of like not just be like two things that you have that kind of go together. They're like, oh, two things that were like made to go together. Yeah.
It's crazy. How much does other people's stuff play a role? Like I know, Arc'teryx was pretty famous for those water like sealed zippers.
Yep.
But now I just got a fishing hip pack where it's just like a huge burly zipper.
Yeah.
But it apparently is totally submersible.
Right.
Like, other people are still changing the game. Is that stuff all proprietary? Or are you guys able to use other people's ideas to integrate into your stuff?
Oh yeah. I mean, some of that stuff, I guess it depends on like those zippers. I'm guessing, you can just buy waterproof zippers off the shelf. It's funny because I actually, for Rux, decided that I was going to try and do it without zippers.
Yeah.
Because from my experience working on bags, it's always
zippers fail.
The first thing that blows out, and then you have this like beautiful bag with a blown out zipper, which is just garbage. So or they're really hard to fix. Like putting a new zipper in is like often the hardest fix. So I was like, okay, could I make a thing that does not involve zippers at all?
So when you look at like a plastic clip, right?
Yeah.
Do you have to design that plastic clip, or can you just be like, no, this is the best plastic clip that does the job that I want it to do, and we're just going to buy those?
Yeah, I mean, we've actually gone ahead and designed our own clips because we have these rails on the Rux that seem kind of like overkill, I think, maybe to some folks. But my whole intention was that the whole thing would be kind of like modular.
Yeah, no, those are the backbone to the whole system.
Yeah, so the rails are like, they kind of give it structure, and then they give it this modularity. And so we designed our own rails, and then the clips that go into those, we had to make our own clips or buckles. And that was, part of the dream, was that like you make this whole thing that was like, and as a customer, you could easily adapt it. You know, you don't have to like cut the straps off because you don't like the straps. You can just
take them off,
and it work. You know, it's made for that.
Cut the straps off and then have to use your lighter on the frayed
Yeah.
end, right? And then burn
Yeah.
your finger.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of the outdoor world is, you know, we have these high ideals of, you know, conservation, sustainability, all that stuff, and you know, it's really, I think, more difficult than people realize. You know, even to say made in Canada, like with Dano and with Side Channel,
Yeah.
like, you know, yeah, they've got a factory where they're sewing them locally,
Yeah.
but you know, the fabric mill isn't in BC, right? Like,
No.
it's really hard. I would think it would be even more difficult right now with plastics and you know, here in Squamish they do pretty good at fabricating metal parts for a
Yeah.
lot of things, but how is that something that you have to give up on really early if you want to have any kind of realistic affordability? Whereas, like, listen, we cannot make every single thing, even in North America.
Yeah, no, I mean, manufacturing, especially for apparel and you know any of these kinds of things, it was definitely kind of another part of the dream was that we'd make stuff at least in North America. I thought maybe if I was clever enough about how I designed it, because big problem with making stuff in North America is the labor. You just can't compete on labor costs.
Yeah.
If we'd used enough injection molded parts, you know, like that's something that doesn't require a lot of
Right. The
manual.
the robots can do it.
Yeah, it just gets spat out of a machine. But in the end, yeah, making stuff domestically is really hard. Like I know there's a lot of people who would love to see more of that, and I think it would make sense.
Yeah,
but
who's
it's
the best?
so hard.
The best at it is old ladies in Newfoundland.
Yeah,
You go anywhere and you can just buy knit socks and knit gloves.
Yeah.
Right? Made
Yeah.
right up the street.
yeah, totally.
Anything more complex than that, though, I can see how the idea
Yeah.
becomes. It's too bad, and then I guess
Yeah. Yeah. But who wants to have a manufacturing job in North America now? You know,
No,
it's like,
no,
it's really
not
tricky.
many people. And the other option is robots are going to take away everyone's jobs.
Yeah.
So it seems sort of lose-lose.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's been the biggest challenge then with this product? I mean, you know, you've been at it. It's been out for a year now, I guess. Has there been any like oh shit moments or where oh my god is this gonna work or
Oh yeah. I mean, lots of those moments. I guess that's the other thing is through Arc'teryx and then through contracting, I've never, it's never been my
right.
ultimately my thing on the line. It goes
Yeah.
through all sorts of filters and decision making processes, and then starting this was like, okay, this is 100% on me, and then also the crew with our with Rux is like super solid, but just the first injection mold, because to make plastic parts you need to make a mold, which I have almost no experience with.
Right.
So just paying the tens of thousands of dollars to get the molds cut is like, and then within a few days I was like, wait, like, oh, I want to change this. And it was like, nope, that'll be in the V2. Yeah.
Is it, I mean, is there a sense where when you have that total control, is that a sense of freedom or is that a sense of like dread?
I'm trying to come to terms with it being a sense of freedom. There's definitely been some dread moments.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, and every little thing gets overwhelming. But
Do you think it's a mindset thing where like, the creative class, there's a reason there's a creative class and a business class.
Yeah.
And it's because their brains work differently. And, I don't want to run the back end of my own magazine.
Yeah.
Right? I want to work for Mountain Life.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
those guys don't want to write the magazine. They just want to run the magazine.
Yeah.
Is it similar to that where you're, and you have partners, thank God, right?
Yeah, I mean that going into this, I was definitely like, one, it was Andre and I, and Andre's obviously a pretty shrewd businessman, and we had different skill sets.
Yeah.
And he comes from, he did a lot of work in the tech industry, which I thought was really interesting. Like his mindset is, you know, he's way more pragmatic than me. Him and Jamie are both way more pragmatic. I'm definitely the like kind of, you know, kooky designer side of it, which I think, you know, balances everything out. But those guys are definitely, you know, Andre's just like, does it really matter? How much does it really matter?
Yeah.
Does it matter more than just like getting something out there and like, you know, getting it in people's hands, and then we can change it, you know, next year or in a few years.
Is anyone going to die?
Yeah. Is anyone going to die? No? Okay, let's keep moving.
Which, I get it, because I'd be, no, but it's not ready.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. I'm definitely of the like, ooh, I want to just like keep tweaking on it.
So you mentioned your new upcoming YouTube career. Those guys are pushing you into the front lines of the YouTube,
you know,
channel, or what's happening with that?
It's probably something I should have just accepted from day one, because as we all know, or whatever, as it turns out these days, like building a brand there's kind of a lot of things going on, and if you want to stand out, it can't just be a sort of faceless like brand. And I think we've really tried hard to make Rux not that. But in the end, as sort of the creator side of Rux, I can speak about it in ways that that just nobody else can. You can't script it, and you can't act it, and so I'm just like, okay. We need to, you know, we're trying to build this thing and make it fly. So I have to, like, even sitting here and doing a podcast is like not my natural habitat.
Yeah.
And putting a camera in my face is definitely not the most comfortable thing for me. But
Do you have any experience doing that as a kid? Like playing around with video cameras or making climbing movies or anything?
No, not really. Like when I was a kid, it was like, I don't know, like handy cams and stuff. Like it was not really a thing. And then I don't know, I just like had a couple experiences where it just kind of turned me off all sort of like marketing activities. And
well, I mean, it's a dark art.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, you know, the not great practitioners of it, that's a word. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
A lot of it's bullshit.
Yeah. I'm trying to like, you know, be authentic, and then like it gets spun up into like whatever story, and then you're like, but that's not really me. And they're like, don't worry about it. Like,
doesn't
we're
matter.
just using your picture, and
there's
it's
no
like,
such thing as there's no such
me?
thing as bad publicity.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, obviously we don't need to give away the brand secrets, but is this have you started, or is it just about to start?
I've already started dabbling. I'm trying. Like everything else, I want to do it like as well as I can.
Yeah.
So like as my buddy Julian just came in today and was just giving me some pointers about how to like set up lights and like settings. I'm just gonna run it on my iPhone and maybe get a little microphone just for better sound.
No, audio is a differentiator, right?
Yeah. So
and lighting, audio and lighting.
Yeah. So just like not going crazy with it, but just get a couple clutch things to make it not so hacked.
Is there companies that you guys look at and be like, hey, these guys are really doing great with their marketing or with their products, or is there local companies or companies anywhere that you can be like, hey, let's build off of what they've inspired us? Yeah,
I mean, we're always on our like Slack channels. We're always batting around different ideas. I think just for some of the cool like website stuff, we're looking at a company called Tropic Field. They make shoes and travel gear and stuff, and they have like these cool like ways to show that the shoes go through all these different environments. And we're like, oh, we should do some version of that for Rux, because it's supposed to be this thing that goes like
right.
garage to roadside, whatever. So I don't know, and of course, like we love. Like Yeti, like we would love to be like some contemporary of Yeti with their coolers and whatnot. We're like a storage, high-end sort of like...
It feels like those guys are still doing really well with the old school way of just like picking athlete or an ambassador.
Yeah.
And let them run.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, like that. It felt like the industry was drifting away from that for a little bit.
Yeah.
But Yeti, they kill it. Like,
Yeah.
dude, give me whatever Tatum has. Right.
Yeah, totally.
She's fishing in her bathing suit in the ocean right now, and we're sitting in cold ass rainy Squamish, right, watching our garden not grow.
Yeah.
Give me the Tatum box.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm less involved with the marketing stuff.
Right. You guys do that though, where you have certain influencers, athletes, whatever it is that that you can give early designs to, and do you take much feedback from the field from those guys?
Yeah, we're trying. Yeah, I mean, that's as on the design side, we're really trying to like close that feedback loop. We're like still so new that we only have so many. I mean, we've got quite a few rocks out there, and we're getting feedback all the time.
Right.
But just trying to like, compile that, and then again, just with business and whatever, like things are all things take time.
Has there been a moment where somebody's like, "Hey, what about?" and then you're like, "Oh, face palm! Like I can't believe we didn't do that." Or is it mostly just tinkering?
It's a lot of tinkering. Like even the best idea, like ultimately you have to like work through it and figure out how to make it actually work. Cause, there's always a little bit more to it, like the materials or, that's like really expensive. Like that's a great idea, but to actually do that would be like insane.
It'd be sick if it could have my name in diamonds.
Yeah. Magnets or whatever. And you're like, oh yeah, but then it would be like $1,000 and no one would buy it. So yeah.
Is that a conversation where you guys are like, we have an ideal price point, or is it like, you can't go the cheapest, you can't go the best? How do you find the sweet spot where is it a trade-off between design and price for you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was really lucky. Like I never intended to make an expensive item.
Right.
I kind of thought that it would be way cheaper. But as it turns out, by the time you add up materials and then like tack on the shipping, it costs $300 now. So which is honestly kind of fun because it's pretty much like it's actually more of like a duffel bag, like a Patagonia black hole duffel, which those cost $300. So to make a bag that costs $300, big deal.
Totally. And I mean, I didn't see your guys' Lamborghinis when I drove up, right? Like, it's not like an iPhone where it costs $7 and you're selling me at $700.
Yeah, no, we're definitely not like it's not some crazy margin gouge thing. It is what it is, and I mean, honestly, I'd rather make something that's good and expensive, and then maybe in the future we can figure out how to make, ones that people could actually afford to have like a bunch of as a system. But it's always better to start with like the best thing that you can make and then work down from there.
What about, I mean, what would you say, to some... It feels like it always comes out of the climbing community. All the kind of innovators and designers that I've talked to are, and they've all been here in town, so maybe that's why they feel like they come from the climbing community. But, but what would you say to a young kid that's like, hey, no, that's cool. I want to get into that. What should they know, or what should step one be for some young kid who wants to be, someone who designs their own stuff?
Because I've been asked that a bunch, and I'm always like, just make stuff just if you're starting out, like it doesn't have to be good. Like even when I worked at Arc'teryx, half the stuff that I would make was like, it was only good because I was working there. And before that I was, just hacking stuff together and modifying gear, and like just be psyched on making things. And nowadays, like if you are good at that, then start documenting it. And I'm just learning this now that you can put that out there and people dig that stuff.
Do you think going to school is still an important part of it to learn that foundation? Or do you think you could, like a motivated kid could learn that in 3 months of serious interneting and maybe some library?
I think you could learn a lot of stuff in 3 months of serious interneting. Whether you would actually like delve into that, like some of those things, because like any school, it kind of forces you to do a lot of stuff that you're like, this is bullshit.
The value might be in the projects more than the instruction, right? Because you actually have to do this many projects and the hands-on time, and you can't duplicate that.
I mean, if you're self-motivated, I think you could really do a lot, you know, in I mean, if you carved yourself off 4 years of your life in your 20s to just do exactly what you wanted to do, you would probably come out with like maybe better than if you went to school. But I don't know, schools,
especially around here, man.
Yeah,
carving off 4 years to be singularly focused in your 20s. In the seat of sky. Tough call.
Yeah. That's the other thing is like once you've slapped your money down for school, you're like, okay, I'm doing this. You're not like,
totally.
Well, maybe I'll go on a road trip
and the school's not like in Whistler where there's 15 bars and 75 nightclubs and you know, I know. Everyone always talked about the Whistler University, and I always thought, man, that's a terrible fucking idea. Dude, do not make kids come here to learn. Right? Maybe for a weekend.
It's not conducive to.
There's 45 centimeters of fresh, but you've got English lit. No, I'm not going to that. Oh man. So you've been in Squamish a little while now, and you know what's the scene? Have you got any big holidays? You know, the pandemic's quote unquote over. Have you got trips, climbing trips, or anything planned, or what's the summer look like?
I just got back from a really amazing I basically did not leave Squamish for the past 2 years. Kind of just by my own choice. The one time I did, I went out to Golden in November and all the highways got flooded out, and I was like, oh my God, it's so dangerous to leave here. But I just actually went on my first road trip in forever. Me and my buddy Paul went down to California around Bishop area.
Right.
And just like, we were kind of hoping to go up in the mountains and climb some of that sweet Sierra granite, like alpine style. But it was still kind of wintry and whatever. So we just went rock climbing and sat in hot springs and basically had like a really old school sleep in the dirt road trip adventure.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it was great. But no, nothing. Well, I guess I don't know, probably go on a couple more trips through the summer, but nothing on the books.
Right. Yeah. Nothing big.
Nothing big. No.
Well, you got work to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of locked in. That's the thing, is we are in like go time here.
Right. So what's I call it the beach bag. I know that's not what you guys call it, but it's a waterproof kind of single handle kind of bag.
Yeah.
It's coming out, or what's the story with it? Because it looks to me, it looks like the perfect bag to, you put on your paddleboard, go for a rip. It'll hold a 6-pack and a towel and a book.
Yep.
And probably whatever else you need, but it's not a huge thing.
Yep.
Yeah. What's happening with that? Is like
so with that, we just I guess we've been like kind of pre-selling it to all of our Rux customers. We were sending out emails to people who had bought stuff previously.
People on the email list get a special
they
advance.
got that kind of early bird thing, and now
join the email list, people.
Get on the email list, and then I believe we have it just on sale to the public now.
Right.
And
so now it's just up to you to make some YouTube videos.
Yeah, now I just got to make videos and nerd out and
Oh man. Yeah. Awesome. And then, is there a roadmap for the next product, or do you just let's deal with this one first before we start looking too far ahead?
I've been thinking about what's next. I think a lot of it's going to be kind of just tweaks on what we got, finding efficiencies in our manufacturing process, like costs have kind of skyrocketed.
Right.
So whatever margins,
right,
fat margins we had are kind of dwindled, but so yeah, just trying to make things better. And then, yeah, I've got a bunch of ideas for the future. I want to make like all sorts of crazy, like heated rucks for your snowmobile and
Right.
cool, more specific application backpack rucks. I mean, it already works like a backpack, but more straps that you could use like a backpack.
You could buy the like burly straps.
Yeah, exactly. And then they just clip on because you got the rails and the buckles, and it's like super easy.
Yeah. So see, accessories. I mean, I feel like that's one of the rules of success with products is, accessories is where the success is. Because
exactly.
you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then just if you got the thing, then it just makes it all better.
That's fun. Well, who do you think would win in a fight between a grilled cheese sandwich and a taco?
Grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah? Was that your go-to snack when you were a kid? Or?
I loved grilled cheese sandwiches.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still now?
Yeah. I mean, I probably eat more tacos now, but
you guys are pretty close to the taco truck.
Yeah, we got some loose tacos over there. Right. We got, all the things.
The next random question I ask everyone, who's your favorite Spice Girl? You're old enough to know the Spice Girls, right? You're probably the perfect right age.
Totally. Those guys were all over Much Music when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I would say probably, I don't know, Sporty.
Yeah. You know what? It's interesting. I ask everyone that.
Yeah.
I mean, we might have to cut this part out because if I give away the secret, then I can't ask anyone that anymore.
Yeah.
But in this area, like 90% of people say Sporty.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
the correct answer, of course, is fuck the Spice Girls, Blondie, Joan Jett. Right? That's the correct answer. But only one person's ever gotten that.
My favorite, that era star was Gwen Stefani.
Right. Yeah.
She really did it for me.
I actually watched the whole season of The Voice just because of her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she always looks great.
Yeah, she's
fashion, right?
She was
fashion
so
and design.
stylish,
Fashion
so
and
hot,
design are kind of interwoven.
Oh, they're totally interwoven.
Right?
It's all.
What do you think about that? I mean, there is still definitely a lot of companies out there pumping out this year's look and this year's shit and almost making disposable outdoor gear.
Yeah.
That's going to mostly just decompose and end up in the ocean.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, Arc'teryx, at least their stuff was a little bit better at last, but are we ever going to stop that? Like what can your average person do to break that cycle?
Just wear your stuff longer,
and fix your shit.
Fix it. Stitch in time saves 9.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm lucky because I have worked on that stuff and I have the machines and things to keep it going. But I literally kind of want to see how long I can make some of my stuff last without having to get a new jacket or a new set of pants or anything,
I'm good at that. But then the other thing is, like, I got a pair of snowboard pants. I've had them for 4 or 5 years, but there's a hole. Like, I can patch them, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get rid of them because then that's only 1 inch that's shitty and the rest of the pants are good.
Yeah. I don't know. When I was a kid, I always thought maybe it was just my weird, like, climber or whatever dirtbag mentality, but I thought the more patches and duct tape and stuff, that was, like, made you cooler. Like, now when you're, like, if your stuff's a season old and it's not cool, that it's just such a weird mentality.
Maybe we should start. We might have to do an article because we should definitely push that, right? And it goes back to what my buddy Dave Barnes always said. He's like, but that's the warmth of human error, right? Where a rattlesnake bit your down vest.
Yeah.
Then you put a patch over that. Yeah. You're always going to remember that, right?
Yeah,
like all of a sudden your vest is part of who you are.
Well, that's when you're asking, like, what's your favorite piece of gear? And I'm kind of like, well, it's the ones that have kind of stuck around for a long time because now I have some, it's like, oh yeah, Old Faithful, like.
Totally.
I'm going to keep working on that
Shoes are good. You can resole them, right?
Yeah.
So I've got my original climbing shoes from when I was a kid. Right?
Yeah,
like
totally.
17 years old.
Yeah.
High ankle, protect your ankles in the cracks.
Awesome. Yeah, that came back. That's the thing is, like, sometimes you keep using something for long enough.
Totally.
In the like fashion cycle world,
like
it's gonna come back.
mustaches.
Like mustaches and mullets. Like,
Oh, sick.
yeah.
All right. Well, Tony, anything you want to say as we head out? Any words of wisdoms to the world? Stop wasting your time with Rubbermaid bins and start buying some rucks.
Get yourself a Rux. Get yourself a mullet. They're back. They're always back. They've never been out. That's it.
There we go. Thanks for your time, man.
Thank you.
And that's that. All right. Thanks, Tony. I could talk about gear forever. Gear, comic books, late 80s hair metal bands, mustaches, and mullets. Thanks also to Shirai Rules for the voiceovers off the top and Adrian Gendro for the guitar riffs. And thanks to you for listening. Maybe tell your friends you've been living it up with mountain life and see if you can rope them in. I see the numbers for this pod, and I'd love to see them go up. So see what you can do. As always, everything you need to know about what matters to us is on the website, mountainlifemedia.ca. That includes the official Mountain Life store. And also the summer issues of the regional magazines are all going to be dropping soon. So keep your eyes peeled and your socks dry. It's got to stop raining one of these days. We'll be back in a month, maybe sooner.